Welcome to another SkaredCast Battle Report, the fourth game of the Coven army. I've made some changes to my Coven list and we are playing the Relic with Hammer and Anvil deployment against Jason, once again, who destroyed me last Battle Report, and he's also made some changes to his list. So Jason's going to quickly run us through his Demons and Chaos army.
Nurgle Demon Prince, Wings, Armor, 2 greater rewards. He got Corpulence, which is it will not die, plus 1 wound. And then he took, he got the one that allows me to reroll the Invulnerable saves, which I switched out for the Bale Sword again. 10 Cultists, 10 Plague Bearers, 4 Spawn, with a Chaos Corn Lord on a Juggernaut, Power Fist, Lightning Claw, Sigil of Corruption. 10 Corn, 10 Flush Hounds with a Herald of Corn on a Juggernaut with a lesser reward. Greater Locus of Fury, and he swapped the reward for the axe. I got 6 Screamers again back here. And then I got 11 Pink Horrors now with a Herald of Zeech, and he's a Mastery level 2. And 10 Plague Bearers with a Plague Ridden, and a Herald of Nurgle with the Grimoire of True Names. They're in reserve.
Okay, fantastic. Now, the Dark Eldar Coven. We have 10 racks in a Raider with Grizzly trophies with 2 liquefy guns and an Akathist, which is the squad leader. 5 Scourge with 2 Haywire blasters. 2 5-man warrior units with blasters and Venoms with dual cannons. 2 Talos with splinter cannons. This Talos right here has the chain flails. A unit of witches in this green Raider. 10 witches. Hecatrix with a venom blade. All have Haywire grenades. They rolled a 1 for their drugs, so they can run very fast. And then Urian Rakarth himself in his command barge with 3 grotesques and an aberration and a liquefy gun. They are Ubergrot, so they are all strength 6. In reserve, I have 5 more Scourge that are going to deep strike. As you can see, the battlefield was placed very low on terrain, and the relic that we are fighting for today is a football, because that is how cool we are. We'll be back. Stay tuned for Dark Eldar Turn 1 as they advance through the night. The Eldar heavily advanced on the left flank towards the dogs with the Khorne Herald. Urian Rakarth disembarked from his battle barge. In combined shooting, saw a couple of dogs die, threw about 3 dogs die, charging in, killing another 3 dogs, and the Herald was challenged out by the aberration. The Herald failed to instant kill the aberration, who put a wound on him, saving Urian Rakarth from a horrible, gribbly death. Another 2 dogs were lost in the ensuing combat. In shooting, the Demon Prince also took 2 wounds to combined Splinter Cannon and Lance Fire. And we're moving on to Demons, Turn 1. The Corn Lord and his spawn charged into the grotesques, killing 2 of them, while Urian Rakarth dispatched the 2 dogs that were left. The aberration held up in combat against the Herald, doing 1 more wound to him and taking no wounds in return. The combat is held. The Plague Bearers and Cultists have moved forward, and Cultists ran to try get to the football, and the Demon Prince of Nurgle has flown behind this line of sight blocking piece of terrain to hide, as he has It Will Not Die, trying to regain a wound but failing this turn. The Screamers have moved up and turbo boosted just to provide a bit of a threat, but not boosted close enough to die horribly to Witch Assault. And the Warp Storm table singed through fire at everyone, hitting a few of my units but scattering wildly off and killing 1 cultist who was caught under a blast. We'll return now for Dark Eldar Turn 2. Will the next unit of Scourge arrive? Yes, it will. The Scourge jump over the building, shot into the cultists and charge them, killing all but 3 of the cultists and losing no one in return. The deep striking Scourge suffered a mishap and were placed in the back corner. They ended up running 6 inches up the board to hopefully be a part of the game later in the game. The Racks moved up and failed to get into base to base with the Relic at the start their movement phase, so they ran into the building. The Venom with Warriors moved 12 inches up. They snapshot and hit 4 times into the Demon Prince, who fell to the ground, taking 2 wounds. And then made his last save against that lance that was gunning for him. The Witches charged into the combat. Urian Rakarth did his first ever heroic intervention, pushing the aberration out of the way. He stepped into the challenge and killed the Herald. Luckily enough, the Herald did not instant kill him with the one hit that he got in through the clone field, which means that Urian Rakarth has gained me another point for his Warlord trait of Legendary Fighter. I also have First Blood from the Warhounds. I shot into the Screamers, killing one Screamer, putting a wound on another one, and shot into the Plague Bearers, doing nothing as they were shrouded. And now moving on to Demons, turn 2, and the reserves might arrive. So first we have
Pink Horrors. Good.
They arrive.
Plague Bearers with the Herald. Plague Bearers with the Herald. No.
They do not arrive. The Horrors have landed, blasted the racks, increasing their Feel No Pain to 4 up. There's 2 racks remaining after the Screamers slashed the liquefy guns out of there. The Demon Prince moved up, charged into the Venom and blew it up. Still has 1 wound remaining because it will not die. Did not save him, and the warriors are now fine. On the far corner, Urian Rakarth challenged out the Lord in combat, inflicting 1 wound that got through the armor save, killing the Lord, gaining him another pain token and another victory point. But he has 1 wound remaining. The Spawn are fine, and the Aberration are fine, while the Witches lost 1 more of their number. We're moving on to... and the Plague Bearers charged in and wiped out the Scourge, who killed 1 more cultist. The Talos moved into the Screamers, finished them off, gaining a pain token. The Raiders have moved up in a wall. Urian and his Pain Train have succeeded in killing the Spawn. It was actually the Witches that killed them, gaining a pain token. So we're at 5 pain tokens for Urian, 1 pain token for the Witches. Other movement saw the Venom killed 2 Horrors out of the unit with the Herald, bringing them down to Warp Charge 1, and the other Talos killing 1 of 2 cultists who went to ground. The Warriors by the pipe knocked out the Demon Prince, gaining them a pain token, and the Racks jumped into the Raider and are still on fire, while the Scourge move up, trying to play a part in the battle later in the game. Chaos Demons now have to roll for the unit with the Herald to see if it comes in, and it does. A whole other unit of 10 Plague Bearers with Feel No Pain. The Plague Bearers deep struck back here after they deviated a little bit, and the Grimoire of 2 names affected this unit of Plague Bearers beneficially, so they have a 3+ invulnerable save, and they ran into the Talos, doing no wounds and taking 1 wound in return, even with all their poison weapons. This unit of Horrors opened up and killed 2 of these warriors who went to ground for dear life, but they're still on fire. The same as the Racks, they're still on fire. And that's all that has really happened on... Oh, and the cultist snuck in there, trying to put some pressure on the relic. Urian Rakarth jumped into the Raider and moved up to a better position. The Witches moved and actually used their drug roll to roll 3 dice and run 6 inches. The Venom and Warriors inside and the Scourge all opened up into the Horrors, leaving the Herald with 1 wound and the Horror with 1 wound as well. Which is interesting, because even though there's only 2 units, they have the same firepower as all those Horrors over there. The Lancers then started firing into the Feel No Pain Plague Bearers to try and knock some of them out. And Soul Blaze killed 1 warrior and 1 of the 2 Racks that are left, and the fire is still burning. And in combat, the Plague Bearers did 4 wounds to the Talos, who passed all his saves and Feel No Pains, meaning that combat is still running, and this Talos knocked out the cultist, gaining himself a pain token as well. The Nurgle pooped on the table and killed the Herald and the 1 Horror that were left, hitting them with his Pestilence Bile. Also hit the Talos back here and did 2 wounds. That Talos is 1 left. The Plague Bearers charged into this Raider, doing 2 hull points to it. And that's game. Urian Rakarth charged in and killed the Herald. Jason accepted with the Herald even though he had a champion, just for fun. And then they popped the units. And I charged in another Talos, the Akathist, and the Witches into the other unit of Plague Bearers to wipe them out and secured the relic with the Warriors. Do you have any last comments?
Yeah, I just made a dumb mistake at the beginning with by putting the unit with the Grimoire in reserve. I don't know what I was thinking. I should have had them on the table to buff up my units right from the get-go, and they didn't come in till like turn 3, the end of turn 3, so that hurt, and I have to learn not to be so aggressive with the Hounds, but other than that, you just outplayed me.
The new list, the new Coven list, I'm really liking it. The synergy within the units, I think, is something that I will definitely be expanding on. Playing the Relic is always an interesting mission. There was a point right at the end of turn 3 where it could have swung either way. It really rested on me killing those Screamers with the Talos so that he would get Feel No Pain to survive against that big unit of Plague Bearers. And also the Warp Storm going against Jason at a critical moment and knocking out his Herald and his Horrors that were going to blast my Witches also meant that it put him in a tight spot towards right at the end of the game. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching. Check out the Facebook group and my blog, daily blog. Also, if you haven't checked out SKTV episode 1, that's me just talking about random stuff while I hobby. I'm going to try and do an episode at least once a month if you haven't checked it out already. And make sure you stay tuned for Tactical Corner. See you then.
Hello and welcome to another Tactical Corner. So deployment. I decided to deploy very aggressively. Learning from my last game, I just wanted to be able to get in control of the Relic early on and not really worry about what he had been doing, but more put the pressure on him. Therefore everything was deployed centrally and up the board. He split everything up and put the Demon Prince on the far flank, which was great for me as the wolves that move forward, or the flesh hounds that move forward, were able to get charged and wiped out by Urien and his grotesques off onto the flank. Now, it was a risky charge, as I did move everything to that flank, and in his turn, his Demon Prince, who had taken some fire, had to hide, which meant that he was pretty much out of the game from the get-go. The Witches ended up coming in to help out against the Corn Lord and the Spawn, who had come in and done some damage. Using the Scourge in an aggressive manner mid-game, as my Rax got onto the objective, was interesting. Urian Rakarth killing the Herald was lucky, considering the Herald could have instant killed him with the one wound that he got in. This gave me good board control from very early on in the game, and I was able to put a lot of pressure on. Now, turn 2, the Demons really put the pressure on by boosting everything into the middle and trying to kill my scoring units. Luckily, the one Talos that ran in and killed all the Screamers really improved my odds in the middle of the board. Using the Raiders as a screen to prevent the rest of his army from really moving around, more the Plague Bearers from getting to my other Talos that still didn't have a pain token. This meant that the Plague Bearers were tied up with the Talos until I was able to bring in the Witches later in the game. Now, the Demons of Chaos are fickle. The Warp Storm table was succeeded in killing Jason's own models. Now, this really helped me later in the game, and eventually I was able to just overwhelm the demon forces, and the game was mine. Thanks for watching.